Good morning, dear children. Today we are going to learn chapter 7 Coordination in Plants. Okay, animals have a nervous system for controlling and coordinating the activities, but plants have neither a nervous system nor muscles. So, how do they respond to stimuli? When we touch the leaves of a touch me not plants like mimosa family, they begin to fold up and droop. When a seed germinates, the root goes down, then the stem comes up into the air. What happens? Firstly, the leaves of the sensitive plant move very quickly in response to touch. There is no growth involved in this movement. On the other hand, the directional movement of seedling is caused by growth. If it is prevented from growing, it will not show any movement. So plants show two types of movement. One is dependent growth movement and the other is independent of growth. See, mimosa plant, even though they are touching, if you touch, then it folds its leaf, but there is no growth. But regarding the growth of a root or shoot, you can see that movement, there is growth is there. Understand? Now, let's see some immediate response to stimuli. Let us think about the mimosa plant. When you touched, it immediately responded. Okay? And think about the first kind of movement, such as that of sensitive plant. Since no growth is involved, the plant must actually move its leaves in response to touch, but there is no growth. Okay, see, look at this plant. The first figure shows that a plant normally, when it is touched, see that the leaflets are folded. There is no growth at all. But if you think about where exactly the plant is touched and what part of the plant actually move, it is apparent that movement happens at a point different from the point of touch. So where you have touched, that is not the movement is from movement happened to another part. So information that a touch has occurred must be communicated. See, one place you are touching, the movement is in another place means there is a communication. The plant also use electrical chemical means to convey this information from cell to cell. But unlike in animals, there is no specialized tissue in plant for the conduction of information. Finally, again as in animals, some cells must change shape in order for movement. Amoeba you have seen now. And it happens due to specialized proteins found in the muscle cells. See, we are also moving because the muscle cells protein is due to the protein, myosin and actin. Plant cells change shape by changing the amount of water in them, resulting in swelling or shrinking and therefore in changing shape. Plants, due to the movement that is due to change in the amount of water, but in animals not. It is due to protein. Understand? Then movement due to growth. Some plants like the pea plant climb up other plants or fences by means of tendrils. These tendrils are sensitive to touch. When they come in contact with any support, the part of the tendril in contact with the object does not grow as rapidly as part of the tendril away from the object. Thus, causes the tendril to circle round the object and thus cling to it. More commonly, plants respond to stimuli by growing in particular direction because This growth is directional. It appears if the plant is moving. Let us understand this type of movement with the help of examples. See, tendrils, you have seen that the plants are using the tendrils. Tendrils are what? They are sensitive wire-like structures which helps the plant to climb and support, because the plant no needs sufficient light for photosynthesis. For that, the weak-stemmed plants are climbing using tendril. Okay. See, you see that there is an activity. See, that symbol activity already you have learned that if a plant you are keeping in a conical flask and cover it with a cardboard, then you can see that the plant is growing towards the light. Okay, the plant is growing towards the light. It shows a curve. This is due to its movement towards the light. So light, that is the region above soil, that is the shoot is always moving towards the light. So it is called a phototropic. And the root, you see that just opposite to that, it is negatively geotropic. Okay, the other one is positively phototropic. Then environmental triggers such as light or gravity will change the direction and that plant parts grow in. This directional or tropic movements can be either towards the stimulus or away from it. If it is stimulus, towards stimulus, it is called phototropic movement, and if it is away from that, then it is, that means positive moments they are, if it is towards the stimulus. If it is away from that, it is negative stimulus. Suppose the shoot is growing towards the light, that means phototropic, positively phototropic. But that is root is towards the water, that is away from light, no, then it is negatively phototropic. Suppose you take the root is towards water, then it is called positively hydrotropic, and at the same time geotropic, that is positively geotropic. But shoot is negatively hydrotropic and negatively geotropic. Understand? See, you can see that here there is an example it is given. See, negatively geotropic roots are always, even you bend it, then also the plant roots are growing towards the earth, that is positively geotropic, and the shoot, you see that away from that, that is negatively geotropic. That means response are of positive or negative. Plants shows response in response to stimuli as well as the root of the plant always grow towards that is the downwards, that means positively geotropic, but shoots are, that means the stem part is negatively geotropic. Okay, this upward and downward growth of shoots and roots respectively responds to the pull of the earth, or you call gravity. Okay, that is geotropism. Hydro means water, chemo refers to chemicals, and wood, hydrotropism, chemotropism. Okay, can we think of examples of these kinds of directional growth movements? One example of chemotropism is the growth of pollen tubes towards the ovule, that is chemotropism. Pollen tubes are growing towards the ovule. Okay, in reproductive next lesson we will learn that. Let us now once again think about how the information is communicated in the bodies of multicellular organisms. The movement of sensitive plants in response to touch is very quick. The movement of sunflowers in response to day or night, on the other hand, is quite slow. Growth-related movements of plants will be even slower. Even in animal bodies, there are carefully controlled directions to growth. Our hands and fingers grow in certain direction, not haphazardly. So controlled movements can be either slow or fast. If fast, response to stimuli are to be made, information transfer thus happen very quickly. So for this, the medium of transmission must be able to move rapidly. Okay, and see that then electrical impulses are an excellent means for this, but there are limitations to use of electrical impulses. Firstly, they will reach only the cells that are connected to the nervous tissue, not each and every cell in the animal's body. Secondly, once an electrical impulse is generated in a cell and transmitted, the cell will take some time to reset its mechanism. Therefore, we can generate and transmit new impulse. In other words, cells cannot continually create and transmit electrical impulses. It is thus no wonder that in the most of the multicellular organisms use another means of communication between cells, namely chemical communication. Okay, instead of generating electrical impulse electrical impulse stimulated cells release a chemical compound. This compound would diffuse all around the original cell. Other words, around the means around have the means to detect this compound using special molecules on their surface. Then they would be able to recognize information and even transmit it. That means there are some chemicals that we call that hormones. They also help the organism to communicate. Let us take an example that we were earlier, that is we are growing plants detect light hormone. See, when we study there are hormones, plant hormones are also there, auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin, all this. So you have seen the plant is growing towards the light. It is because of the auxin, the hormone. Okay, auxin, the hormone, is necessary since it is the reason for that. And see, cytokinin, it is necessary for the cell division. Like that, the hormones are having a major role in this in the communication too. That also we will learn. Okay, for example, the fruits are ripening and falling because of abscisic acid. So okay, ethylene, such hormones are also there. Out of that, the auxin and cytokinin and gibberellin are growth promoting one, abscisic acid and ethylene are growth inhibitors. Okay, learn all these things very properly. Okay, bye, see you.